throughout the January 6th hearings, we have heard conservative witnesses push back against former President Donald Trump's debunked claims of a stolen election. Perhaps conservative should be in quotes there. It includes longtime election lawyer Ben Ginsburg, who in the committee's second hearing was clear about the winner of the 2020 vote.
The 2020 election was not close. In 2000, that was 537 and close. In this election, the most narrow margin was 10,000 and something in Arizona, and you just don't make up those sorts of numbers in recounts. That put the Trump campaign on sort of a process of bringing cases without the actual evidence that you have to have. The simple fact is that the Trump campaign did not make its case.
And he's definitely a conservative. Ben Ginsburg joins us now, also with us, former judge of the United States Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia Circuit, Judge Thomas Griffith. They are two of the authors of a new conservative-led report out today, debunking each and every legal claim of election fraud made by Trump and his team as it relates to the 2020 vote. And gentlemen, thank you for being with us. I was talking about Republicans who call themselves conservatives but still believe in the big lie. And so that's why you are here. I first want to ask you about this report that the two of you have put together. Who is it for? Ben first.
We wrote this report for conservatives who may believe the allegations that elections are fraudulent and rigged. And what we wanted to do was gather a group of conservative jurists and political operatives to take a look at every single charge Donald Trump or his supporters filed in any of the 6 battleground states. And so we have looked at all 64 cases and 187 counts and confirmed that he did not make his case.
And so, Judge Griffith, if you could explain, if you look at all of these cases, what is it about the way you conducted this investigation, this report, that might help bring those who are still believing this election was stolen to reality? How do you think this is going to help?
Well, we started with the assumption that we were not going to rely on anyone else's account of what took place. The President of the United States made these serious charges of election fraud, and out of respect for the office of the presidency, we thought those claims deserve investigation and analysis. So we weren't going to rely on anyone else. We did a deep dive ourselves into every claim of fraud or irregularity in all the battleground states. I think it's highly significant that 3 of the members of this group are former federal appeals court judges appointed by Republican presidents. Michael Ludig, Michael McConnell. These are 2 of the most highly respected conservative jurists actually in American history. And they joined in this process, and we took a deep dive, a fresh look at all of the allegations, and we came up with the conclusion that Ben just mentioned. There is no evidence of fraud that would have changed the outcome in any single precinct, let alone the nation. So our hope is that when conservatives hear this from fellow conservatives, when they hear this from people who hold their same values about limited government, religious liberty, judicial conservatism, that they'll see what the truth is, and hopefully, and this is the thing that I learned most from this process, other than the fact that it confirmed that the election was lost, not stolen. What I learned most from this process is that we have in the United States of America today an election administration system of which we can be very proud. The bad old days of stuffed ballots and dead people voting, those are old days. They were bad days. They're not today. American people should have great confidence in the election administration system. It held up well in this instance, and those who claim that there was fraud in this election that changed the outcome, without any evidence, are actually doing great damage to our election system.
Judge,
they're doing great damage to our democracy.
Yeah, for sure. Judge, we just heard from a former employee of the Oath Keepers who was, reaffirming that the core base is still there, out in America, people, voters. Who do you hope this report will reach, will give perhaps new light to perhaps then help people, voters who have been, I believe, maybe do you believe, misled down this path to believe that our elections process is not secure?
Well, our belief, our hope is that of that 30% of the American people who tell pollsters that they don't believe that the election was fair, that they think it was fraudulent, our hope is that when they hear from trusted conservatives, people who have given their lives to the conservative movement, when they hear us say, we've looked at this, we've done the work, we've taken a deep dive into all of this, and we're telling you the election was not stolen, it was lost. We're hoping to persuade those folks, because when you have 30% of the American people who don't have confidence in our election system, that's dangerous. Jonathan Haidt said recently, and Jonathan Haidt's done more work on the polarization of America than anyone. And Haidt said recently that he predicted a catastrophic failure of American democracy because, he said, we just don't know what happens when you drain all trust out of a democracy. We're hoping to tell people, we are telling people, we're hoping they'll be persuaded that there's a lot of reason to trust in our democratic system. And conservatives are known for preserving institutions, not tearing them down. So our hope is that conservatives will preserve the good institution we have right now of free and fair and honest elections, and not tear them down with baseless claims that have no evidence.
Well, thank you both for taking the time to do this.
Yeah,
I mean,
really.
this is painstaking work, and it's truly crucial to our understanding of what happened. And Ben, I just want to read the top line again. There is absolutely no evidence of fraud in the 2020 presidential election on the magnitude necessary to shift the result in any state, let alone the nation as a whole. In fact, there was no fraud that changed the outcome in even a single precinct in the United States during the 2020 election. So that follow-on question to you, Ben, is what about next time around? There are a lot of people running for offices at the state level. There are senators, there are election officials who share that view that the election was stolen. Many of them know that's not true, but they still say it. Do you worry that next time around there won't be the guardrails, there won't be the Brad Raffenspergers and people like him to stop the election from being overturned?
That's a really important point, Willie. And the answer is yes, of course you have to be concerned about it because of what we just saw. I think we were encouraged by the testimony on Tuesday of Stephen Ayers, who was a witness as well, who said, if I had known that there was no evidence for the charges that Donald Trump was making, I never would have been at the Capitol. And so we hope that in this message by conservatives to conservatives, that those voters will understand it, because the cure for this ailment is at the ballot box. It's not reports, it's not rhetoric, it is actually going out and voting. But yes, it is a concern because of the people who are running for office, who don't believe in election results, who say they won't certify results, as well as voters who don't accept the results. And as Judge Griffiths said, a democracy where 30% of the population doesn't believe in its election results is not sustainable in the long run. And of course, that will impact Republicans if they take power in contested elections, as well as Democrats, something that my fellow Republicans seem not to be fully aware of now.
And
right,
we're hoping that conservatives will run campaigns on positive message of conservative values, preserving our institutions, limited government, law and order, religious liberty, judicial conservatism. Let's run on those issues instead of looking to the past and making claims that just aren't true, that undermine confidence in our democracy.